Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Fin Factor. I'm Paul.
And I'm Aaron.
This is episode number 100.
I can't believe it, man. That seems so much.
It does seem like a lot. I don't know. It just seems like we've I don't know. I feel like we haven't done this for that long, but then you see the number and it's just, we must have got comfortable along the way. I don't know.
It is our third season, so it kind of makes sense, I guess.
That is true. So triple digits, I guess we're not doing the whole number thing anymore. We're doing the picture thing as you've been doing the last couple episodes.
Yep. So, yep. Thanks to everyone who's been a big part of our community. This is amazing, and part of the reason we love doing this show is the people that have joined, and especially in our lives, and we have a lot of comments in here, especially going right now. So it's really cool. It's really good community, good group of people. Not too much negativity, I should say. Not that we don't need any negativity, but not too many trolls. Maybe that'll change after 100.
When you said the people in our lives, I thought you were going to get real deep, like heartfelt, but you meant the live shows.
I definitely meant the live shows, but yes, the people in our lives as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Kind of that along the same lines as Aaron just said there. I want to say right off the hop here, instead of usually I do at the end, but thank you guys for being such a big part of the Fin Factor and making it what it is. The content that we create, it's motivated by you guys, right? By the comments that you make, by the tweets that you send, by just all the interactions that we've had, and we've had just such a great time, and we're looking forward to getting on to episode number 200 and that path that's along the way there, and seeing how the show evolves. Once we get out of our bedrooms and garages and everything, we'll have a nice, hopefully another studio setup and whatnot. Will be looking good for you guys again. So more to come, definitely, and we do appreciate all of the support that you guys have been giving us over the past couple seasons here. Between again, just supporting us with the comments and questions, along with the super chats, along with going to thefinfactor.com and picking up the hats, the shirts, the stickers, all those things, which we're looking at getting some new stuff in the store for you guys as well. Hopefully sooner than later. We'll see. I don't know when that'll happen, but regardless, let's get on to talking about the Sharks here, Aaron. I almost don't even want to spend much time talking about the first game against the Minnesota Wild. It was a 2-1 game that kind of got out of hand at the end there with the empty net goals going to 4-1. So it looked a lot worse than it actually was. I thought the Sharks played a pretty solid game defensively, at least. With the final score could have been 2-1.
Yeah, I thought Dubnyk played really well, especially in this game. It's really unfortunate that he didn't get the win because I feel like he definitely earned it. It would have been a pretty emotional thing for him to come back into Minnesota pretty quickly after he'd been playing there for a number of years. So it was hard on him to come back. And we actually have a quote right here that from the post game when he was asked about how it was like playing against his former team. Maybe we'll roll it. Super producer Jason. Maybe not.
Who? I would like to know who you're talking about, Aaron.
Who? Dubnyk?
Dubnyk.
Oh,
yes.
Dubnyk. Talking about Dubnyk. Sorry.
Yeah, you know what? It was strange. I knew it was going to be weird for many reasons. Obviously, coming back, but not having fans. I just wanted to go out and try to play, and felt in the first period I was a little, I had to sit myself down after the first and just tell myself to relax. I was a little fired up and overthinking stuff, and I just wanted to give the guys a good chance, and I thought we played extremely well tonight. So I think if we play like that more often than not, we're gonna be on the right side of things. So it would have been real nice to win. It was nice to get it out of the way and feel like I played okay.
There we go. That's coming from Dubnyk right after the game. It's kind of sad that again he didn't get the win, but he played well. He stopped 25 of 27 shots for 926 save percentage. There was one shot, and he mentioned it later in that interview. I didn't pull that quote, but Kaprizov was in on him. I forgot who he beat on defense, probably Carlson, but he beat him and got a shot through his legs, a la Tomas Hertl, and he did not score. I think Dubnyk actually got a piece of it, thankfully. Otherwise, he mentioned he's like, those are the goals that you don't want to be scored on because you're going to see it 365 days a year because it's going to be such a highlight reel goal. So good thing to keep Kaprizov off, who I thought looks amazing. And I would say, based on these last 2 games, probably the Calder Trophy finalist candidate there, at least this early in the season.
Definitely a rising star for Minnesota there. But yeah, I believe in basketball they call it getting posterized because you end up on a poster on the bad end. Absolutely. No, I thought Dubnyk played well. And this is another game that Dubnyk played that, much like the first game against St. Louis, where he lost, and he lost kind of big in that one. But I'll take a look at the goals, and you go, he had 2 screen shots and 2 deflection shots that all went in as goals. So it's really hard to kind of say, the goaltender's just not doing his job. Those are real tough ones to get. You can't really track it when it's being shot between your defenseman's legs, and the deflections are just, good luck, right, on a lot of those ones. That's how Joe Pavelski made his living early. So I don't know. I think he played well enough in the first game against the Blues, and I thought he played well against the Minnesota Wild in the first game there. So again, it was one of the games where I thought maybe Dubnyk is going to get the start, even though he got the loss, because he played well. And much like the second game against the Blues, he doesn't start the second game against the Minnesota Wild. And much like the game against the Blues, Jones starts and gets the win. And then here we go in game 2 of this series, mini series, if you will. And Jones starts and they get the win. So, I'm not sure how much more there really is to say about just game 1 in general. I thought the Sharks were good at times. I thought they played well defensively. I think you see this progression, right? From the beginning of the season to kind of where they are now. Again, it's only 6 games in, but you could definitely see the difference in the way that they're playing, and that they're picking up the system, and that they're understanding it more, and that they're actually executing it better, right? So I think I saw somebody was saying, Bob Boughner was the wrong choice and he needs to go. And that was somebody saying that this season so far. And I just think that's a little premature. And this is the reason why we were doing shows once every week after maybe 3 games or so. Now it's different this season, but in the past, that's why we did this, is because you want to take a look at a few games at a time. If you judge them after every single game, you get these really high highs and these really low lows. So when you do it after looking at, a few games at a time, you kind of get the idea of how they're picking up and getting it, right? You get to see them kind of understanding the game plan better. And I think that's what we're seeing right now, is when you compare them the beginning of the season to, again, just 6 games in, there has been a lot of progression in terms of them picking up the play and picking up their understanding of what they should be doing out there. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. I think it's still early. Tonight was the 6th game of the season. Granted, it is a shorter season, so this would probably feel more like if it was a regular 82 game, probably close to the 10 game mark. This is kind of where you start to kind of assess what you got and where you are. But even then, the Sharks have had 10 months off of hockey against actual teams and not practice. So it's going to take a little while to get them back up to speed. And that kind of goes for most of the teams. But remember, 24 of these 31 teams were in the playoffs, more than the normal 16. So most of those teams had played some hockey back in, what was it, September, July, August, September, around there. I can't even remember. So it wasn't as long of a layoff, and they got to have some practice before they even started playing any games. So they got to see, they had almost like a training camp, a mini training camp, and they get to see where their players are, and not just the players that are on the top team, but their players that are below and in the system. They can at least assess those guys and see where they are and give them some pointers. Okay, I need you to work on this. I need you maybe to work out differently and build some different muscles than you have to kind of get stronger in these areas, that kind of thing. So the Sharks are a little behind the 8 ball. And real quick, I just want to point out Lundy giving us $4.99 saying, all right, we won. And also another $1.99 saying it's like Dubnyk didn't know he was traded. LOL. Thanks, Lundy. Appreciate it. Just want to get those in there before they went away. But we do have another quote here from Boughner after this game, kind of talking about the same thing, he's kind of asking, because that was a disappointing loss. 4-1 sounds worse than it was. It was really a 2-1 game. The 2 empty netters are just kind of disappointing. But there was a chance for Lebank. I don't know if you remember this. He almost tied it up with, I want to say maybe 2 minutes left. It was before Dubnyk was pulled. He had a grade A chance, and he whiffed on it. And you could see the frustration and the anger in his face when he got back to the bench that he missed that one, because he knew that was a golden opportunity to tie the game. But let's roll into this Boughner footage from the post-game interview after this game 1 against Minnesota.
Well, I think that, it's so early in the season, and I don't think it's a huge measuring stick right now. I think we're still all trying to figure out our own games, our own teams. All the coaches are doing the same. I like really, if anything, that how we played in the third period in St. Louis. We carried it in. We played a pretty good, solid, structured game in the first two periods here, and again, the power play, we gotta try and find a way to solve their PK, and they're probably saying the same thing over there. We did a real good job on our kill. And it's just minor adjustments. For me, it's about, we got to find a way and work on it tomorrow in practice of generating some more offense from below the tops of circles.
And going off of what he said there, the PK unit, I thought, has been very good. They did give up a goal in tonight's game, but they killed off all the penalties in the first game against Minnesota. And just to give you a sense of where they are in the league, last year, they led the league, which is so bizarre because they finished so low in the standings. They led the league at 85.7%. That's kind of the benchmark roughly of where the top teams are going to be, around 85%. They are right now, after tonight's game and all the other games the NHL have done, they're in ninth at 86.4%. So they are on schedule, on par to finish where they kind of were last year in their PK, which is amazing because they lost their top two PK guys in Carlson and Gaudreau. So Nieto stepping in, as well as who's the other one that's not Sorensen, I think, is taking it, right? And to go back, like just on that line alone of the Marleau, Sorensen, and Nieto line, I think the last two games, not just tonight, but the game before, Nieto scored a goal, right? That was the last game. He scored that goal. We're getting to see some contributions from this line, and I think they're kind of overwhelming the other team with their speed. So it's a good mix of speed and skill, and this is technically the fourth line based on if you're looking at the minutes. So if you're getting some chip-in goals here and there from that fourth line, that's going to bode well in the long run. And I think what we're seeing is the Sharks are kind of getting their game, buying into the system of Boughner, seeing some results finally, especially after tonight's game, and getting some wins. So I'm pretty happy with that line and kind of the direction that they're going in, at least.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like you said, Nieto chips in a fourth line goal there. They've been asking for depth scoring, at least the fans have, and we got that. And then most recently, the fans and everybody else has been asking for the top lines guys to score. So everybody needs to score, according to everyone. So it was nice to see at least the Nieto line kind of chipping in there. After we saw a great goal by Sorensen, I think it was the game before, right? So lots of good things that are happening right now for the depth scoring. The top six scoring, if you will, has kind of picked up as of this past game here, and we'll talk about that in just a minute here. I know people were chomping at the bit to talk about the win, so I'll kind of cruise through the rest of game one here. Parise had scored to take the lead there. That was one where Carlson and Dubnyk kind of both went towards the puck carrier, and there was Parise hanging out in the back there, and he just kind of banged it in. So a little miscommunication there, and that's really what caused the game. So again, a 2-1 game that turned into a 4-1 game with 2 empty net goals. So, take it with a grain of salt. It is what it is, and you move on. And the Sharks did exactly that. So unless there's anything else you want to bring up about game one, I'm ready to talk about the win.
The other bright side, I guess, is the faceoffs. They were 58% in the faceoff circle in the first game against Minnesota. So trending upward for faceoffs, which is boding well for them. That's it. That's all I wanted to cover.
Yeah, I think earlier in the season we had seen that their faceoffs actually took a bit of a dip as well. So we were excited to see DeMartini get in there and maybe show his faceoff skills, flex his muscles there. But apparently that's not enough to keep you in the lineup in the NHL. So DeMartini kind of having a seat here. So when we take a look at what was asked of the team after that first game against Minnesota Wild, and you wanted to see more scoring from the top six guys, right, from your big guns. And Bob Boughner sends a message to Timo Meier, and he puts him down on the third line. I believe he was alongside, let's see, Meier was playing alongside, not Donato.
Gregor and Gambrell.
Thank you, Gregor and Gambrell. That was the other name that I wanted to pull out there was Gambrell. He seems to be showing that he can be that third line center for this team right now. I will be the first one to admit I was not very high on Gambrell. I thought much, even like Kevin Kurz was saying the same thing. He's much closer to the team than I am, but he was saying the same thing where, I think his days here might be numbered. He's really got to put up this season, or I don't think he's going to be wearing a Sharks uniform for very long. And I kind of felt the same way. I figured this guy just kind of needs to step up and actually do something here. And, credit to him. He worked on this in the offseason, not getting bumped off the puck so easily. He's not the biggest guy, and he's certainly not the heaviest guy out there, but he certainly worked on his center of gravity, being able to protect the puck better, and it's serving him well right now. He was in the lineup, out of the lineup, now he's back in, and he's basically kind of taking over on this 3C role. Now he's got probably a short leash. Same thing that Sheng Peng had said in the tweet was he's probably got a short leash here, and that's okay, but I think that he's kind of solidifying himself a little bit right now. And the thing with Timo was he was put on that line alongside Gregor and Gambrell. And the Gregor's got a lot of good speed. You've got the playmaking ability and the newly found puck protection out of Gambrell. And then you've got Timo Meier. Now, Timo plays best when he's trying to be that tank, when he's getting dirty, when he's banging bodies out there, right? And he added that element to that line. And the entire game, you were hearing from everybody, be it on the broadcast, be it through Twitter, that line was the Sharks' best line. So then you start seeing them kind of creating these chances, and maybe it wasn't going in for them, but they were very dangerous out there, I thought. So did you see that the same way, or did you think that that line maybe had a little bit more to offer? Because I felt that they did a great job tonight.
Yeah, when you kind of spread out your top line guys amongst your other lines, so think about Timo Meier. He's used to playing against the top guys. He's usually on the top line, so he's playing the top defensive guys on the other teams. When you move him down the lineup into that third line, now he's going to play against other third lines, and he should and is dominating. So you've seen a lot of those power moves that he was doing tonight when he got moved to that line, and it worked. And I think it's hard to say if it's also sad to him if he can't stay at that level on the top lines and you keep moving him down. He does well. He might get stuck down there, maybe a second or third line guy that's going to dominate and chip in. Now, I'm sure the message was sent. I'm sure he's going to get called back up to that top line. But still, when you get those mismatches, that's kind of what you're looking at as a coach is to create mismatches and create opportunities exactly like how he was doing with those power moves. And I'm loving those power moves. This is something that I've missed the Sharks doing in the last, I don't know, probably 3-4 seasons, especially under Pete DeBoer. I'm not trying to badmouth DeBoer. I think he's a fantastic coach, but his message, I think, got kind of stale because he's more of the guy that would preach to do the system and force the players into the system. This is more of a creativity, and it's unleashing kind of more creativity stuff like the Burns goal tonight. You see Burns being a little bit more aggressive and just absolutely Ryan Sontag, thanks for the $2. Here's a good quote to go with that. He really upped his trade value tonight. And right before that, Anthony Sanchez says, hey guys, my wife dares you to say trade Burns after his goal tonight. So I think those two go hand in hand. But yeah, absolutely. I think the players are kind of get a little more comfortable in the Boughner system, and I like the encouragement to be more. And this is what they talked about before, to be more creative with what they're going to be doing. So it gives the top players such as Burns and Karlsson some great ways to be creative. And moving to Karlsson, I think defensively Karlsson has had his struggles. Absolutely. I'm not going to sugarcoat that, but I think he's looked fantastic offensively. I think he's being very creative, more so than he has before. He looks more comfortable on the ice skating. His passes are even better, I think. I think he's catching some guys by surprise, and they can't handle the puck as well because they're kind of not expecting the puck to be on their stick. So I just wanted to give him a little bit of praise, but I also want to give him some criticism on the defensive end, but we'll get into that in a little bit. But what do you think about, let's talk about the Burns goal. Everyone wants to talk about the Burns goal.
Okay.
Okay, wait. Tell me, were you jumping on the couch screaming when you saw it?
I was not jumping on the couch. I have more respect for my couch than that, but I was jumping off the couch. Okay, let's think of words that describe this goal. Nasty, filthy, gross. What was the quote from Ryan Donato?
Yeah.
What did he say? Disgusting. I mean, these are all words that yes, the more you know. These are all words that describe this goal. I mean, I'm going to take you through this play by play just from the top of my head here, okay? The face-off comes, and it comes to Burnsy. He fires it, and just like they've been doing all night and all night before that, the Minnesota Wild blocked the shot. And so Burns says, you know what? Forget this. I'm just going to take it to the house. He gets the puck. pulls it to his backhand to evade a stick check, right? Skates in towards the net, pulls it to his forehand, evades another stick check, pulls it to his backhand again, evades another stick check, and he roofs it on the backhand, just absolutely puts a hole through the ceiling. I mean, this thing, if not for the netting being as tightly woven and as strong as it was, it just busted straight through. I mean, this guy has been known. I mean, when you saw his days as a forward and Joe Thornton feeds him and he one-times it, he was sitting at the blue paint and he one-times it as if the goal is on the other end of the arena. You know, he has to go through the net to get to it, right? This guy, how much power this guy has. And for him to just roof it the way that he did, he was in tight. Now, again, everything I've just described, it sounds Datsukian. But this is he was 6'4" defenseman, right? I mean, he has a background playing as a forward, but he hasn't been playing as a forward. He's been playing as a defenseman. So for him to be able to just walk through literally the entire Wild defense, forwards and defense, and then roof it over their goaltender, I don't care if he's a third string goalie, as somebody had alluded to earlier. That's just magic. And again, absolutely disgusting, filthy,
silky mitts.
Silky mitts.
It's unreal.
Absolutely unreal. Yeah, no, I mean, I fell over. I jumped up. I just about fell over. It was insane. I watched the replay on that one about 5 times. So we got Lundy saying trade Burns for Braun. No, that's not happening, buddy. Not happening at all. So, no, absolutely. There will be no shoes thrown tonight, my friend. You can tell her to keep the shoes on. We're okay. No trade talk today. The more you know. Absolutely. And the the look on his face, if you haven't seen my tweet, I don't know, maybe somebody could post it in the chat or something like that, but I had a tweet out there saying, somebody please make a GIF of the face that he was making at the end of the game there, right before the last face-off. And if you have it on replay or whatever, you can just rewind it to basically about 4 seconds left and watch him on the bench. And he's making this really weird face with his tongue whipping around all over. I don't know what he was talking about exactly, but actually, we got a quote here, don't we?
Yeah, we have the post game from Burnsy himself, and he kind of mentions about it. So let's roll that footage right here from Burns himself.
Yeah, I mean, Jonesy was huge for us again tonight. Made some huge saves at key times. What was I thinking? I wasn't really thinking. I mean, that's probably what happens in those plays a lot is you don't think. Hurdle won a great draw, and I don't know. It's one of those things. It's just nice to see it kind of work out, and weird with no fans there. Me and Mario were laughing. We're the only guys screaming there for a bit, and it's just a big win. I think I talked about it before. That's I felt like that was probably our best game by far that we played so far, and most complete, competed hard. That would have been a tough one to lose. I think you really want to. You lose that first game, you have to win the second game, and we were up, so that was nice to get that and feel good about it. I think the game was coming, and we were competing hard, and that's one you would hate to see to not come through with 2 points.
Yeah, spot on right there. Gosh, can you imagine if they let that game go? Can you imagine if that didn't work out for them there? I mean, I was looking at this when they tied it up 4-4. I'm going, no. That was a little bit scary there. But, I mean, again, great to see them come out with a win here. I mean, they absolutely deserve this one. So it was great to see Burnsy making his way through all that. And it was great to see on the bench, you've got him and Mario Ferraro kind of chuckling, having a good time there. And it's one of those things where you look back and you say, Joe Thornton was that guy that kept everybody loose, that kept everybody happy, or how are they gonna be able to move forward with this? Are they gonna have a hard time trying to keep it loose? Because he was that guy that even on a loss would bring them back up, right? And the words there from Burnsy saying, Mario Ferraro is one of those guys. And he was saying in the post game that while he was on the bench, this is different from the video we just saw here, where he was saying, Mario's one of those guys that he's just a great presence to be around. He's always happy. He's always one of those guys that you can talk with that kind of lifts you back up, right? So either they're laughing together or we're laughing at him, is I think what Burnsy said there. So it's nice to have other guys on the team, especially the younger guys, stepping up into a role that is beyond hockey, right? It's a role that helps keep the guys loose, keeps the guys happy, because especially in this pandemic era right now where you've got a team that's going to be on a 14-game road trip and maybe even longer. being able to have that mental health and have that stability of that camaraderie, outside of just playing hockey all the time, I think that's a really big thing for these guys.
Yeah, and I want to go back to what he said about Jones too. He was giving Jones praise. In the last after that goal, Minnesota had a really good chance in close. I want to say it was Parise. I can't remember if it was him or someone else, but Jones came up with a huge save. He got his glove on it because they went glove side on him. And usually he's getting beat on those. So I just wanted to point that out. Like Jones that was a game-winning save right there. That should have been a goal and should have been tied up. It was in the slot, such a high danger chance, kind of the high slot, but still, they should have buried that. And you could see the frustration in the player's face. I can't remember who it was, but I was very excited about it. One thing, Anthony Sanchez, here's a quote here, says, "I think Burns can play a rover position." Now, it's interesting you say that because this is kind of what I was talking about, how they're going to be more creative and how they're kind of attacking more. They're not staying at the blue line, and they, as in Carlson and Burns, they're being more creative. They're attacking more. You're going to see them more in the offensive zone, taking more chances, as long as one of those forwards are coming back to kind of rotate. But it's wreaking havoc on other teams because it's hard for them to kind of pick up, and there's a lot of miscommunication. So normally in hockey, you have when you're playing defense as a team, your wingers are picking up the defenseman at the point. And wingers usually aren't as good. Your centermen are usually your better forwards at playing defensively. So the wingers are kind of getting tied up where they're like, oh, I got to follow this guy. And they're getting Burns and getting behind Burns and Carlson. So you're going to see them get more chances, and it will create kind of counterattacks, and you're going to see kind of stuff coming back if they don't get the puck in deep. But still, we're going to see a lot more, again, I keep using this word, creativity. I need to find another word. I need a thesaurus or something. Also, another quote that I'm laughing because I don't really like it, but I do love the picture. This is from Stevenson Yee. "Burns should be a right wing, though." Everybody take a look at that picture. What's he wearing in this picture? If producer Jason can find this, from Stevenson Yee. Look at that. Look at that. My body tingles, and he's got our shirt on. Can you see that?
Oh, anyway, the icon.
Burns is not going to be a right wing. I know this is just, solidifying his case that he should be. But again, if he's a right wing, Burnsy is probably going to play 18, maybe 20 minutes a game. Now, tonight, he actually had more than Carlson. He had 27 minutes. So your best player is on the ice longer. It's better for him to be a defenseman. Maybe not defensively, but he's going to be your best player, and you want your best players on the ice more.
Well, and it's funny that you say that because post-game, Bob Boughner was saying, honestly, I'm kind of tired of hearing people that are not saying Brent Burns is good defensively. He makes some pretty solid defensive plays. It's just that the thing is, the bad always stands out, right? When you watch the news, there's never stories that are just all feel-good stories. They always tell you all the bad things that happened today, right? And the media, same thing. They'll tell you about the good things, but they really harp on all the bad things that are going on. And so that's the thing one of the things I like about our channel and what we do for the Sharks community is we kind of tend to look more on the positive sides of things. Look, we know that the Sharks aren't looking like the cup contenders that we all want them to be. We know that, but we're trying to be as positive about what we have as we possibly can. And yes, we realize they're probably going to be a middle of the pack team that maybe squeaks into the playoffs, and that'd be great. And we're happy that's where we are right now because, hey, once you get in, that's really all you need. You just need to take it to the dance, right? So on that note, actually, I do want to call out a comment that I see here. Dana Meyerson says, "Great YouTube channel too." I think there was someone else saying that was so iconic. Great YouTube channel too. Hey, thank you so much for the comment. We appreciate that. That's kind of what we're going for. We're just trying to, brighten everyone's day, especially when we've got a win to talk about. That's always pretty nice. Good news there. Yes, the more you know. Yeah. The other thing I want to point out is let's just take a look at the goal scorers tonight. Now, I think Noah Gregor was the empty net goal, so we'll count that one, but still, whatever.
Nieto was the empty net.
So Burnsy, right? This is not in order, but I'm looking at the stat sheet here. Burnsy got the goal. Ryan Donato scores against his former team. Not only that, he also got an assist in this game. I believe that was on the Evander Kane goal, which Evander Kane scored as well. So that was an awesome one too. It was a drop pass. I can't remember who it was that hit him, but I think it might have been Timo. But Donato passed it up, and whoever it was, I think it was Timo, dropped it back, and Kane just let it rip. and wow, just pounded it past the goalie. So really good stuff there. And then so let's see, Nieto was the other one there. So Burns, Donato, Kane, Nieto, and Gregor. I mean, that's a good spread.
Gregor getting into the lineup too tonight over who was it, Nason? I think Nason was in the last game. So Nason sat and Gregor goes in tonight and Gregor gets the goal. So I would imagine that Gregor's going to stay in the lineup for the next game because of that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you change anything. I don't think you change anything. I thought the lines today did great. I think maybe you might have want to see a little bit more out of Couture, but and his line, but I think they played okay as well. There are nights where certain lines are not going to do so hot, and there are lines where there are games where those other lines are going to be picking up the slack. And when those guys kind of fall off, then you look back to your big guys again and say, hey, what's going on? And hopefully by then that little bit of a slump is over with. So, it kind of, there's some give and take, there's some push and pull. So, you're never going to be on 100% of the time. You're never going to be able to go out there and score every single game, right? There's always going to be little lapses. And the teams that win are the teams that can handle those lapses by having their depth score when they need to, and the big guys score when the depth's not coming through. And tonight we kind of got a little bit from everybody. So a total complete effort by the team, I thought. Jones played phenomenally. The defense looked solid. I will say another thing about Mario Ferraro. This guy never gives up on a puck. I mean, he was in front of the net. The puck gets shot and deflects out towards the boards. And I mean, not just that he got there, but the body language, the hustle, the drive. You can see his legs is absolutely churning as hard as he can. And he's moving as quick as he can. And it's just something that you can't, I don't know. I mean, maybe you could teach it, but you can't really teach like the desire, the drive. He wants to get that puck. And he's always out there chugging and burning. And that's one of the things I love about the guy is his desire, his compete level is just so high. And you can see it every time he steps on the ice. He's always going after loose pucks. And he's usually the first guy there. And when he's not, he's battling hard to get it back. So I love Mario Ferraro's game tonight. I thought he did phenomenal. Just all up and down the roster. I thought everyone played a really great game, and it was reflected with a big Sharks win.
Let's say Ferraro picked up an assist tonight, but he also was a +2. And nobody on the Sharks was a minus tonight for all those people that really love that plus-minus stat. Too bad Carlson didn't pick up a plus, but at least he was even. So he's not going to help his case right now because he is the worst Shark for plus-minus on the team. I think he's a minus 8. I think he's leading the team in the wrong way, in the wrong direction. And again, plus-minus, it's so hard to rank people on plus-minus, especially a defenseman, your top scoring or your top pairing defenseman because they're on the ice so much. But Burnsy and Ferraro both a +2. Burnsy with the goal and Ferraro with the assist. So it's good to see those two are looking pretty good. It's too bad for Shimmick because he's only getting, maybe he's not quite 100%, but he's only getting about 12 minutes a night. They're kind of slowly bringing him back. But I think Ferraro's kind of took over his role of being the Burns wild man whisperer, and he's looking pretty good. I mean, Ferraro himself tonight had 22 minutes. That's pretty good for a second full year? Last year he was a rookie.
Yeah, no, he's shown that he is ready for those top 4 minutes. He really has, and not just to soak up the minutes there. I mean, in top 4, you're not really soaking up minutes, right? But I mean, again, his compete level, it's there. This is a guy that can go out there and give you good quality minutes every single time he's on the ice. He's good offensively, he's good defensively, and he never gives up on a puck. And I will say that on, I believe it was the first goal, was a Parise goal, where the guy, the new guy that they got, Kaprizov, I think, or something like that. I forget.
Was that on Minnesota? Kaprizov.
Yes, yeah. I mean, he passed the puck over to Parise, who was streaking towards the net, and then put it past Jones. And Carlson stepped up on that guy, Kaprizov. I don't know. He stepped up on him, and Parise was getting chased by none other than Timo Meier, but there wasn't really much of a chase going on. I can guarantee you, if that was Mario Ferraro, he'd have tied up that stick because that guy would have chased him down. There was a little bit of a lack of effort, I thought, on that play by Timo, and most of Twitter thought the same thing. And it was kind of like, well, here we go again. This is the reason that you're on the third line, Timo. So I was, it's not Timo time, just like we were talking about last. It is not Timo time. We put the clock down. But as the game kind of went on, you start seeing it again from Timo. Say, okay, you know what? I'm gonna do what I can here, and I'm gonna chug these legs, and I'm gonna churn and burn. And that's exactly what they did on that line. Is they showed up, they played hard, they were consistently one of the better lines out there after that goal went in. And it's good to see that they've got that depth. It almost reminds me of that, what was it, the HBK line for Pittsburgh when they won the cup against the San Jose Sharks. It was I think it was Kessel. Kessel was on like their third line essentially, and it was like, well, Phil Kessel. I mean, this is Timo Meier. If you could spread out the offense and have him on the third line, and he's liking the line mates that he has, and it works, gosh, it does a whole lot of wonders for the amount of depth that you can throw out there and really have some mismatches. If John Leonard can continue to be, or can really step up to be the type of player that we all think he can, and Ryan Donato continues to impress, do you move Timo off that line? Maybe not. Maybe you just go with that great amount of depth and keep him on the power play number 2 there. And then, as you said, the fourth line with Nieto and Marlowe and insert player here, I mean, they've been doing pretty good too. They're killing it with speed. So there's a whole lot of great things going on, and I'm excited for the times to come, the games to come, and I'm excited for the system that they're working on with Bob Boughner to really kind of take hold, and for them all to get it and all be on the same page. And I think we're starting to see that, and hopefully it translates to more than just these 3 wins. As Stevenson Yee has just given us $3 in super chat, saying $3 for 3 wins. Thank you so much, Stevenson. It does go a long way. We appreciate that, and we're just as excited as you. So, Aaron, I don't know, your final thoughts on that before we start taking these questions?
Well, thanks, Stevenson. I'm kind of out of focus again here. I can't wait for that 50th win this season. Here we go. Big flower.
It works.
It kind of worked. It's making it worse. Little in-home studio. We're kind of going off.
Get on with it.
Thanks.
So yeah, any last comments about game number 2 against the Minnesota Wild, which saw the Sharks having one of their most, probably their most complete effort this season. Everybody played well, and of course they come out with the win.
Well, I was really worried about the Sharks kind of giving up and letting Minnesota come back in the game and tying it, going to yet another overtime game. But I'm very happy to see Jonesy make that save, and them holding off, and then Nieto sealing the deal with and almost offsides, by the way. Sorensen almost messed that up. Thankfully, the new rule change helped save it. At least we think it did, because the blue line, they didn't have the blue line camera, which is unfortunate. The blue line camera is a camera that's literally looking down the blue line, and the new rule this year for offsides, it used to be your skate had to be on the blue line, literally on the ice, and that's almost impossible to tell on a replay just based on cameras and logistics and everything else. So they made it so that it just has to be the plane. So now think of the blue line as a big line going all the way up, and if you can have your leg straight up in the air. If it's through that plane, then you're fine, which is what happened tonight. So Nieto would Sorensen dragged it just enough to keep it in there and then get that goal. So good on Nieto. I'm glad to see him get another goal. I thought for sure he was going to pass it across to Sorensen, but Nieto was like, nope, I got to get mine. So he put it away, and he almost missed. Did you see that? He roofed that thing. He put that thing in the corner. That was close. Anyway.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. It was definitely nice to see that one go in. When it first kind of came down that they're going to be doing the replay, because I saw the play and I'm like, Sorensen looks offsides. So I was a little worried at first, and then they did the replay, and I'm looking at the replay over and over, and I'm like, I don't know. It looks like he might be offside, but I feel like he's okay. In fact, didn't they change the ruling such that the puck has to not cross into the offensive zone, but just cross the initial blue line from the neutral zone? I think that was one of the ruling changes, other than just lifting the foot off of the blue line being okay. I thought it was the point of entry had changed. I'll have to go back and check that one later on, as you are blurry as I don't even know what is that still you? Holy smokes, dude. Yeah, sunflower. Anyway, yeah, no, it was really nice to see him being able to throw that puck in the net, and then it actually did count, because it was a little nerve-wracking at the end there, just kind of sweating it just a bit there. So but hey, glad that it's done, glad that it's over, glad they come away with 2 more points. They're 500 on the season in terms of point production there. So, I mean, pretty much all good things right now. We look forward to the next games against Colorado, and then at home, if you will, in Gila River Arena, I believe is what it's called, against the Vegas Golden Knights. So lots to come with better teams to go up against, and we'll see how well this system holds up against those guys who can really put the puck in the back of the net. But I feel like if our defense keeps progressing in terms of being able to block those shots and limit those chances, the Sharks have done a very good job of limiting chances, and they've been saying that all throughout the broadcast as well. The Sharks are doing a much better job than last season, even and the beginning of the season, even just a few games ago, of reducing the amount of chances that the other teams are getting, those high danger chances. So, it could bode well against these really tough teams who are used to getting those big chances. If they're not getting those high danger opportunities, maybe they're not as dangerous as everybody thinks they are. If you kind of limit that, I don't know. So, did you want to start talking about the games to come? Did you want to call out some comments here? I think we've got tons of comments going through right now. My goodness.
Yeah, look at that. I'm back in focus here.
Hey, all right.
Dana just said Avs are also 3-3. Just saying, absolutely. The Avs are not as dominant as everyone thought they would be. They're not undefeated. So, yes, they're still a good team, but every good team is still going to have their faults. So the Sharks put in their hard work. I think they can come away with at least one of the wins in Colorado. Now, it's always hard going into Colorado because the elevation, they're mile high. So that definitely affects the lungs. But yes, and you mentioned it before that their home games, they just announced that, I think yesterday or today, that they will not be, the Sharks will not be playing at SAP Center, at least for their first home games in February, because of COVID related reasons in the county. Who was it? The Warriors are playing. They're not playing in San Francisco. I think they're playing up further north. I can't remember where because I'm not really following the Warriors that much. But I think they're the only other professional team right now. The 49ers, their season's done, but they weren't allowed to play as well. So they were also in Arizona. And that was the only teams that were going on right now because there's no baseball. So, the Sharks, unfortunately, are not going to be able to be home. And there was a good write-up from Kurz, I believe, this week about it because they are essentially living out of a suitcase away from their families on the road. And there's a number of new dads, I guess I should say, that are on the team that have a couple newborns. So that's got to be rough for not to see your kid. I mean, imagine you have a newborn and you go on the road for a month, right? You don't get to see that kid grow up. And a lot happens in a month, believe me, when you have a new baby. So that's really sad. And it's going to take a toll on them mentally. So hopefully the Sharks, or not so much the Sharks, but the county will allow them to come back and play. To me as a fan, it's not a huge deal because it's not like we can go to the games anyway in San Jose. So whatever, they can play in Arizona. At least there'll be some fans there. But it's unfortunate for the Sharks themselves to not be able to be in their homes, in their beds with their families. So, that's going to be a big deal, I think, coming up.
Very good. I want to call out a couple comments here. One saying, Nicholas Egan, I think the Sharks should keep splitting the starts for Jones and Dubnyk. Seems like they've done well when both get some work and rest. This is something that we were talking about before the season even started. It was that you're going to need two guys who are both starter quality, guys who have had starts in the NHL, and lots of them. And these two have had basically the most over the last 5 years, right? So there's a lot of experience in net for the San Jose Sharks here. Some might point to the numbers and say, well, maybe not starter quality. That's fine. But I mean, I think Jones is showing right now that he's able to bounce back. And I think Dubnyk the same. Dubnyk hasn't had a win yet. But if you take a look at the games that he's played, I thought he's put together some pretty complete efforts. Even the game that they lost in was 5-4 against the Blues. 4 of those goals, 2 of them were screens from his own defenseman, shooting between the legs, right? And then the other 2 that I was talking about were deflection goals, very hard to pick up. So I thought he still did a really good job on all the stuff that he was able to see. There was just that one where he just wasn't able to cover it. Fair enough. You can dog him from that one. But I think that the tandem has worked well. And it was something that Devin Dubnyk had said at the beginning of the season was, I'm looking forward to working with Martin Jones, not to try to be better than him, but to try to make ourselves better together, right? To be able to push each other up and to kind of help each other get our games back. And I think that's exactly what's happening. And a lot of credit does need to go to each of them working for each other and trying to pump each other up and help each other out, but also to goaltending coach Evgeny Nabokov, I'm sure has had a lot to do with their turnaround, their success, along with the hard work that each one of these guys has put in during the offseason that cannot be undersold. I think they've put all the work in that was necessary. And the fact that these guys are going to be playing a condensed schedule and they're going to be sharing more starts, I think absolutely bodes well, because each one of them is used to playing all the games, all the minutes. And right now, they're going to be splitting. Well, I mean, Jones has got 4 games and Dubnyk's got 2. So if that trend continues, Jones is going to be getting way more starts. But if they start splitting it more often, those guys are going to be playing a lot less in terms of the frequency of game. They're going to get more rest. And then, of course, the season is short anyway, so you won't even have to split 82. You only have to split 56. So I think it bodes well for both of them. I think this is going to be a good season in goal for both these guys. And as the defense, again, starts to shore themselves up and get the system down pat and really does a good job keeping the high danger chances to a minimum, it's only going to bode well. And it's something I've said, guys, the defense, those goaltending numbers, it's not goalie numbers. It's team defense numbers. I'm telling you, as the team defense gets better, you're going to see better save percentages. You're going to see better goals against average. I'm telling you that. You can jot it down, say that's what Paul said, and tell me I'm wrong later on, but I'm telling you, that's what's going to happen. Speaking about defensemen, I want to go one comment below that. Says Matt F. I'm late. Did you guys talk about 71? Knezhov. He can't spell his name. We could barely say it. Showing grit today. He's been decent so far. Absolutely. The guy comes in out of nowhere. That's what they said during camp. Bob Boughner said he literally just kind of came out of nowhere. We weren't expecting this guy to make the roster, and he just outplayed the competition for that spot. So, here he is. He's been in the lineup. I thought he played well tonight. There really wasn't a guy on the ice that I was super disappointed with, apart from Timo's kind of coast behind Parise there for the first goal against. But other than that, I thought everybody did a really good job playing, including Knezhov. There you go. Aaron, go ahead, take it away.
Brian Hong wanted to know, going back to the goalies, who starts in goal the next game? Do you go back to Dubnyk or do you stay with Jones? I would say go back to Dubnyk. I think it's working. It's keeping him fresh. They are going to have to travel right now from Minnesota to Colorado, so that's a plane flight where Jonesy had a pretty good game, pretty active game too. So give him a little bit of rest. Why not? The Sharks are in a situation where they have 2 bona fide starters, and they're lucky. Now, it's still early in the season. I still expect one of these guys to either get hurt or go on COVID, or maybe not get COVID, but maybe have to go through the protocol, just like did you see what happened in Washington, by the way, with the Capitals?
Yes.
They had 4 guys. They broke protocol. What was it? They were hanging out in a hotel room with each other or something that they weren't supposed to be. And they had to quarantine.
I don't get that. I don't get why that's a problem, that the players are hanging out together, because the players practice together. The players are not allowed to see anybody outside of their hotel rooms, even the other players. It just doesn't make sense to me. If they can't see anybody else, shouldn't they all be treated as if they were one happy family and they can see each other? I don't understand why that's a problem.
I don't know. Rules are the rules, and they broke them, and they knew what the rules were. It's not like they could plead ignorance. So they had to sit, and the NHL came in, stepped in, and said, actually, I think Washington is the one that they kind of did it first, and the NHL was like, yeah, you need to not do that. Even it was Ovechkin was one of them, like top name guy in the league, and he's going to have to sit. So the Sharks, I fully expect something like this to happen. Something's going to happen where maybe they don't get COVID, but you never know. There's false positives, right? Where all of a sudden you test positive, and then you have to go through tracing and go, oh, I just saw these 4 guys. Now they have to sit, and then it comes back. Oh, it wasn't. I didn't have it. It was a false negative, and then too late. They already had to sit. So anyway, going back to the goalies, I expect one of them to be sitting at some point during the season, and we're going to see. Who is it? Who's the guy on the taxi squad? The Russian guy, right? New guy. I'm blanking on his name now. Melnichuk. Thank you. I bet we see him get a start in there at some point, or maybe not start, but he'll be in the game on the bench. Get some experience.
It's opening and closing the door.
Yeah, Nicholas Egan. This is a good stat right here. Wild led the Sharks 11-4 in high danger chances tonight, and the Sharks yet still won, barely.
Yeah, so that kind of contradicts exactly what I was just saying, though, doesn't it? Huh? Yeah, thanks, Nick, for that. I'm not going to say it. No, hey, if anything, I think that's a testament to the sharpness of Jones then, right? if they're allowing 11 high danger chances against, and he's done a pretty good job of shutting the majority of that down. Now I wonder how many of those chances resulted in goals. If all 3 of the goals were high danger, I mean, I don't know exactly what to say about that stat just now, but I think that the flip side of that is the 4, right? The 4 chances against. That kind of shows me that we're not taking the puck to the net as often as we should. And what happens when you go to the net? I mean, let's take a look at the Burns goal. He brought the puck straight to the net. It wound up being a goal. You've got Ryan Donato, who fired a puck, not really high danger. It was actually kind of a weird off angle, but it deflected and it went in. It was closer to the net than, say, like a wide point shot. So I think the more you bring the puck into the to the net, the higher danger opportunities, you're going to get more goals. The Sharks only had 4 of those according to you tonight. So I mean, I wonder how many of those resulted in goals. And if that Ryan Donato goal was considered high danger, I would consider it high danger. It just happened to ricochet and go in. But hey, when you're having a hard time scoring, you throw the puck at the net, and wild things do happen. I mean, even Curtis Brown was saying that after the post game there was just throw the puck at the net, and wild bounces do happen. Sometimes it goes in. So always nice to try to get that number higher. Unfortunately, it was tilted in the Wild's favor tonight. But again, the sharpness of Jones, I think tonight really showed, and the Sharks were able to overcome that stat, thankfully.
Going back to the Washington thing, they were in the hotel bar, according to Anthony Sanchez, not in a room. So the 4 players went down into the hotel bar, which makes more sense than hanging out in a room. Yeah, come on. They know better than that. That's just silly. There was a funny comment from Scott Kemp, and I'm going to call it out because it's a little negative. Does anybody else see how much we are paying EK65 to waste space on the bench? I don't quite understand this because he was almost on the ice more than the bench at 24 minutes. So I don't really get it. But yeah, anyway. EK65
will always be haters. That's what it comes down to. Okay,
it's because of the contract. Because of the contract. That's it. It's all it comes down to. Now, I was thinking about this earlier because there's so much hate for the contracts not just Carlson, Burns, Kane, Couture, all the top guys, Vlasic. Now, these guys, think about, let's look at Vlasic, right? I think he's a better example. For a long time, he was probably the best defenseman in the league, one of the best defensive defensemen in the league. He was not getting paid as such, right? So it was a bargain. Like, wow, the Sharks are really lucky to have him. Now the Sharks pay him like he's the top defensive defenseman in the league, and now he's not quite as sharp or as good as he was, and now people hate him. Why? What? Flip-flop those contracts. What's the difference, right? Like, he earned that contract. He earned it. And the NHL kind of pays based on past performance. Not quite, but there's some players that are going to get rewarded, including Vlasic and Carlson and Burns, Couture, Kane. These guys, you never, in any of these sports, any of the big 4 sports, you never see players get paid early for what they haven't done yet. You see them make their money afterwards, after what they've done and proven themselves. So I'm tired of it. I'm really sick and tired of all the people hating. It's all because of the contract. He's still a top player. All these guys are. They're still top players in the league.
Yeah, and the exception to what you just said would be with Kevin Lebank, right? He's getting paid for what they believe he will be in the future, not necessarily being paid for past performances. Obviously, because he got the $1 million contract, and he didn't show that he was worth $4 million by that season. But they're assuming that he's going to be a much better player as the years go by, and I think they're probably right on that. I hope they're right on that, and they're paying him the amount that he should be paid for the performances that they believe he will be putting up. And that's I think you're right, though. That's pretty rare. I think most players get paid for past performances. So, yeah, 100% on that. But, again, there's always going to be people who are going to hate on contracts and whatnot. And it's like, I always try to do this analogy, and sometimes I screw this up. So bear with me here, folks. It's as if you're going to a store, and I always use this to buy bananas, right? You can go to Safeway and get bananas, or you can go to, I don't know, Rayleigh's and get bananas, or Costco and get bananas. And the price is different, but you're still getting a banana. you can't say, well, Erik Karlsson cost this much, and then compare it to like Drew Doughty or compare him to Roman Josi or whatever else, and say, well, we could have had this guy for the same amount. It's like, no, that guy belongs to that team. That you can't go out there and get another guy for that amount. This is what Erik Karlsson costs. If you want Erik Karlsson to play on your team, this is what any team's going to have to pay him. And yes, I 100% believe if the Sharks didn't pay him that, he would have got it somewhere else. So that's the going rate for Erik Karlsson. Regardless of whether or not he's worth it in your mind, if you want him as part of your team, that's what you have to pay for it. You can't go out and get a different Erik Karlsson for a lower price just because Costco's got bananas on sale, right? So again, my analogy maybe not working for some people, but I think you get the gist of it, right? It's just that if you want this guy, that's what he costs. That's just what it is. Now, frankly, I look at his game, and even tonight I was looking at his game, and he is so evasive with the puck. I mean, he brought the puck in across the neutral zone. He had guys breathing down his neck, and I'm thinking, okay, as soon as he crosses that blue line, he's going to have to dump the puck in or something. And here he is, wide legs, gliding. He's got the puck held away. He's doing a great job of puck protection. He ends up taking, I think, like 3 guys up against the boards with him, and then he dishes the puck across the ice. And to me, that's what you're paying for. You're not paying for the numbers so much on the stat sheets. You're paying for the zone entry and getting the other guys open and available. I think that's what he does so well. We've talked about the difference between Brent Burns and Erik Karlsson, both offensive defensemen, 2 completely different types of players. Brent Burns is the guy who's going to blast the puck through the net, right? He's the brute force. He's looking for that cannon of a shot. Erik Karlsson is essentially blue line Joe Thornton, right? This is a guy who's a puck protector, who's not exactly the biggest body, but he does puck protect very well. And he's able to find the open man all the time. And I saw a couple more tonight where he made a great pass and it exploded off of a stick again. It's like these guys haven't figured out how to handle this pass yet. I don't know why. But again, for me, this is what the guy costs, and this is what you're looking for him to do. And I think he does a great job of what you're asking him to do. Now, the points may not show up, and a lot of that has to do with he's not getting assists because the guys that he's getting the puck to aren't finishing. Now, hopefully that changes as the system gets more ingrained in their way of play. And we'll see some more points on his stat sheet. But as of right now, I'm pretty happy with the way that he's handling the puck, the way that he's setting up his teammates, even if they're unable to finish, and the way that he's protecting it in the offensive zone. So is it a lot of money? Yes, absolutely. And am I a believer that when you pay one player way too much money, you make it very difficult to make a good team? Yeah, absolutely. I played enough NHL 20 and 21 to get that message through, right? But I think that in this case, I would probably still do it all over again. I think he's absolutely worth what we're paying him to be able to be a big difference maker. And I think he is a difference maker. I would like to see the guys who he's handing the puck off to do a better job of finishing. But in terms of his ability to control the puck, I'm pretty happy with it.
All right. Let's go to roll call and tell us where you're watching from and give us your best one-word description for Burnsy's goal tonight. How about that? We'll end on a good note.
That's a good one.
And let's talk about the next games. We're playing Colorado on Tuesday and Thursday night.
But before we do, Costco, Stevenson Yee says Costco has cap circumvention. Thank you, Stevenson. Anyway, go ahead, Aaron.
Tuesday and Thursday night in Colorado, both games at 6 p.m. We will be doing our show on Thursday night after the game at 9 p.m. So we'll see you back here on Thursday night. But what would you be happy with coming out of there on Thursday night? How many points out of the 4 total?
Okay, I want to go back to what you were saying you'd be happy with for the Wild and what I was saying. I think you had said you'd be upset if it wasn't 4 points. So before we answer the question...
No. I said I'd be happy with 4 points. I'd be disappointed with 2.
Okay. I think we said we'll meet halfway at 3, which is because I was saying I was okay with 2, I'd be happy with 3, and ecstatic with 4. I think you said you'd be okay with 3, but you would be disappointed with 2, right?
Exactly, yeah.
So, are you still disappointed?
Yes.
Okay. You know what it is for me? I think it's that the second game was a win. The second game was a win, so it feels a little bit better than it should. I don't know. But no, for me, I'm happy. We've been splitting all these series, and the team is still acclimating to the system. I think if you can split while you're learning, all good things.
I think I don't know if disappointed is the right word. I'm happy with the way they played, disappointed with the results. How about that? Because I felt like
Yeah.
I felt like the game. Well, I thought like the first game they looked good, they just couldn't score. I think it was a little bit of bad luck. Good luck on Minnesota's part. But also at the same time, I feel like in hockey, you create your own luck by hard work, and I feel like the Sharks could have done a better job creating more chances to create their own luck. But still sad that we only got 2 points out of that.
Okay. Before we talk about the expectations for the next miniseries, I want to go through some of these words real quick. So we got Noah Claxton from San Diego saying disgusting. Yes, absolutely. That was the word that everyone's been using here. Sonic Tonic from downtown San Jose says slick. Fullerton Gaming from Fullerton, California says badly. I'm not sure what that's supposed to imply, but okay. Gernster, I think is how you say it. Prince Albert, Saskatchewan, speechless. Anthony Sanchez, Burns goal is smooth. Nick HBK 150. What's up, Nick? I'll skip on that one. Nicholas Egan, supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Yes, thank you, Nicholas. That was that's a good one there too. Lundy says epic. Brian says amazing. Keith missed the game. But I made it to the Fin Factor. Keith, we forgive you, my friend. Orange County, the Burns goal says.
Goal. Yeah.
Was that?
Let's say go back and watch the highlight of that goal if you did not see it already.
And then check out our Twitter at the Fin Factor for the GIF of Burns' post-goal celebration on the bench there. Kellen Foster says the Burns goal was a burner. Get it?
Nice. Nice. That's a good one.
Good stuff. Okay, cool. Yeah. Now, as for the coming games here. Quicksilver says ooh wee. For the coming games here, I think against Colorado, again, I'm looking for another split. This is a team that's, they're good. They're really good. I know their record is the same as the Sharks right now. This is not the same team as the Sharks. Okay. They once they find their game back again, and it may take a team like the Sharks to help them find their game. It's going to be ugly. I feel like they're, again, still the real deal. They were the real deal last season. They haven't made too many changes, I don't think. So I really see them as being the same skillful team that they were in the first place. So it's going to be a tall task. If we can come out of that with, again, a split, I'd be more than happy with that. As the season goes on, my expectations may be a little bit higher. And again, which is kind of weird because you think about it, everyone's got this team pegged to be at the bottom of the division, right? But if I'm looking at it and saying I'm hoping for a split, that's like we haven't put the bar high enough, and yet everyone else would say that's putting the bar too high because they're not a good team. So it's like where's the kind of the happy medium there? So again, for me, I'd be happy with a split. I think either it being a loss or a win or a loss, it doesn't matter to me. Whether we get our 2 points from overtime losses, I'd be okay with that too. I'd rather not be giving Colorado 4 points to be able to take 2 because they're going to be just that much higher in the standings. But at the same time, I'm pretty sure Colorado is going to finish the season off ahead of us anyway. So does it matter if we're giving them the extra points? I don't think so. I'd just be happy to come out of this with 2 points in any way, shape, or form. You?
Yeah, I think they're going to have to scrape by and get as many points as they can. So even if it goes to overtime, I do expect probably, I'm looking at the standings right now. Vegas is so far ahead. They're 5-1. I mean, they got 10 points out of a possible 12. That doesn't suck. So it sucks for everyone else that doesn't like Vegas, but they're probably going to stay at the top, I think. And then it goes Minnesota, St. Louis, Colorado. Those top 4 are kind of like what everyone expects the division to end. Maybe not in the same order, but if you can pull some points away, maybe you can scrape by and you're going to have to knock out one of those teams. I thought Minnesota was that team to knock out. And I think even after those 2 games, I think Minnesota plays a better, more defensive responsible game than I thought they would. So, man, that's going to be tough, tall order unless someone gets hurt or some people go on COVID for a while. So this year is such it's up in the air really on where it's going to end, minus those top couple teams. So I think luckily the Sharks are in a good division where they have a chance to get in that playoff spot.
Anthony Sanchez is predicting a 2-0 sweep against the Avs.
You know what's going to happen? It's going to happen, and he's going to come back and go, told you so.
I hope so. I I want to believe you, Anthony. I really do. But I'm not sure if that's realistic. But if it happens, I will absolutely give you all the credit in the world for that one if I can remember. And if I can't, you can just tell me. Right after that, we've got Kellen Foster, Nieto revenge narrative. I like that. We already had the narrative against the Minnesota Wild with Dubnyk and with Donato, and even Burns. They were throwing in there a little bit too, being a guy that we picked up through a trade with the Wild there. So yeah, Nieto. I could definitely see something like that where Nieto comes in there and has one heck of a game. I'd love to see that, Aaron.
Absolutely. I like Matt Nieto. I like his game. It's kind of sad to see that he ended up being a fourth liner, but he is a good fourth liner and a good penalty killer. I remember when he first came in the league, I was really excited about him because he had so much speed and pretty decent amount of skill. He was a little bit smaller. He still is kind of smaller, but do you ever wonder, do you ever think, wow, Matt Nieto really looks like Jake Gyllenhaal, or it could be his little brother? You ever notice that? I posted a GIF today during the game, man, he looks like Jake Gyllenhaal. And I posted a Jake Gyllenhaal GIF. I'm like, yeah, looks like Matt Nieto. No, never thought about it. Am I the only one? All right, I'm weird. So
can't say I've thought about that before, but thank you for bringing that up. I guess now I'll be seeing Jake Gyllenhaal every time I look at Matt Nieto. I don't know.
All right, Long Beach native Matt Nieto. You got to say his full name from Matt F.
All right, Matt F. calling you out on that one.
I think that's overplayed. I think it's a little overdone at this point, but sure. Long Beach native Matt Nieto.
Noah Claxton is along the same lines as Anthony Sanchez here. Noah Claxton says 4 points, accept nothing less, no mercy. At least that's how I figured you said it with the whole, what do you call it? The Emperor from, what's it called, that movie? Gladiator, where he's getting the thumb out and down. yeah, that's the one. Yeah, absolutely, Lundy. Minnesota will be below us by playoffs. I kind of feel like they might, but they did come out pretty strong this season. So, I mean, who knows? I would love to see anybody below us come playoff time. So, I mean, that's the goal. I think the goal isn't to be the best in the division, especially for this team by a long shot. I think the goal is just, stay competitive and try to squeak into the playoffs. And I really do feel like one of the main goals for Bob Boughner is to get the younger guys on the right page. And then for the next season, they'll be off on the right foot and the young guys will have already stepped up. And somebody made the comment earlier, I didn't get to pick it up, but the young guys are stepping up. We've got, John Leonard, who is still looking like he's NHL caliber. He hasn't got his first goal yet, but he's out there just really churning out there. He's looking good with the puck. He's looking good on the walls now. He was one of the things he was talking about. He's worked a lot on his board play. Obviously, Mario Ferraro taking a big step forward his sophomore season, playing in the top four. You've got Ryan Donato stepping in, not exactly a rookie anymore, but certainly new to the team, and he's played really well. I mean, everybody seems to be kind of stepping up and doing a great job. Knyzhov as well. I think Knyzhov is stepping into that role as the guy that they have to play right now, and he's kind of playing himself into a position where he's going to stay, I think. Clausen, I think, is the guy, is how you say his name. He hasn't seen the lineup yet, and I'm not sure when he'll actually be back in the fold to have a shot at that roster spot, but Knyzhov is making a case for him to stay anyway. So I don't know. I like the way everyone's playing, and hopefully everybody kind of continues on with that path, and next season when we go for a full season, everybody's going to be just that much more acclimated to the system and have that much more NHL experience, and maybe we'll be just that much more in contention for maybe not just a wild card spot, but maybe for a top 2 or 3 in the division. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to what these guys can do, not just this season alone, but in the very near future.
Absolutely. I mean, if they do go in and get those 4 points in Colorado, they're going to jump in the standings over Colorado. It will obviously be early, but going back to your point on the young guys, yeah, the young guys are stepping up and they're looking better and way better than last year. I think there's less so younger guys. A lot of them have more experience than they did last year, and that's kind of exactly what you're trying to build going into next season. And remember, next season we'll have the expansion draft for Seattle, so the Sharks are going to lose a player, somebody. They're going to open up some more cap space. The cap should go up. So there's a lot of things that are going to be in play. The Sharks will be a lot different team next year than they will be this year. So again, I think this year is more focusing on getting experience. It's a short season, not writing off the season. Things could happen, but if things do go south, at least the Sharks do have their first round pick as well. So it will be, if they don't make the playoffs, then it will be a top caliber player will be coming back to the Sharks. Probably will be their top prospect, I would imagine, even more so than Merkley. And speaking of Merkley, who knows if we see him this season? Maybe we will. That's another guy that could step in there and play some minutes.
We're going to wrap this up real quick here, but Steven Sinig helping us out with the name Commodus. Thank you. And then you also got Steven Sinig saying, do you think Merkley will see NHL ice time? I think at this point, no, not so much. I don't think we're going to see him get ice time at all.
It depends on the season. If the season goes south, I think they're going to bring in those young guys and get them some experience.
Fair enough. And then Noah Claxton says, Leonard says, felt cute, might slip into the top 6. I think he forgot the IDK, but that's okay. Lundy gives Seattle Dubnyk. Dubnyk's on a 1-year contract, so they wouldn't bother picking him up anyway. Noah Claxton also reminding him Dubnyk is UFA. That's correct. And then he thinks Kevin Lebank will get taken by Seattle. Sadly, Noah does.
I was going to say that. You mentioned his contract earlier when we were talking about those contracts. I feel like Lebank is a good option to be possibly dangled and taken up by Seattle.
Yeah, no, I mean it could be the case. So okay, well I think we've gone for quite a while here. We're gonna exhaust the people in the chat and certainly exhaust the producer Jason there. Hey, the more you know. Thank you so much. Hey, again, guys, episode number 100. I can't believe it. It's absolutely amazing to me that we've lasted this long, to be honest with you. But again, it comes down to largely you guys. Thank you guys so much for being a part of this community, for sharing our videos, helping us get our names out there, retweeting our tweets, and having the comments that are in the comment section there, allowing us to have topics to talk with you guys about and getting you guys involved. We love that. And to all the guys, I think mostly was Lundy tonight for throwing that super chat money our way. We do appreciate it so much, Lundy. Don't forget, though, we do have the store, so you can use that money to get yourself a hat, some shirts, some stickers over at thefinfactor.com. Everything you guys contribute towards the show goes exactly right there to the show. It does not go into mine or Aaron's pockets. I know what you're thinking. Aaron spends the money we make to get those nice haircuts. It's not the case. So again, I just want to say thank you guys so much one more time, and we're looking forward to seeing you guys throughout the rest of the season. So on that note, I want to say thank you guys. For Super Producer Jason, I'm Paul.
I'm Aaron.
And we will see you guys
Thursday night.
Thursday night, that's right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in. If you like this episode, check out our other content, especially interviews. You can interact with us directly through social media at The Fin Factor and on Instagram at Fin Factor. And don't forget to join our live streams on YouTube.
Visit our website at thefinfactor.com, where you'll find all of our episodes as videos or podcasts. You'll also find our exclusive merchandise to help support our show.